What's all this about a middle way? Today I spoke to a millennial. No, not that sort of millennial. She's no snowflake. She's a doctor. Fairly young doctor, but a doctor nonetheless. She happens to be working in the same place as me. And we were talking about politics and the last election, which was the first one she'd ever voted in. And she said that she had voted for the Liberal Democrats. I asked her why. I found it very difficult to understand why, given the way that the Liberal Democrats had facilitated the 2010 government with that notorious Condemn coalition, which had consigned so many ordinary, decent, working-class people to something akin to a scrap heap, not to mention what they did to the disabled of this country. Her response was that she didn't like extremes. She didn't like the extremist right wing and the Tory party brutality and barbarity towards people with disabilities and the sick. She is a doctor after all. And nor did she like the idea of an extreme Labour Party. This is an awful narrative. Not because extremism is particularly a good thing. It's not, as a rule. Extremism tends to lead to division. But because it seems as though the whole political narrative has moved so far to the right that we see ordinary democratic socialism as somehow extremist. When I left school in 1981, Britain was in the grip of the Thatcher years. That was incredibly damaging to my society in the northwest of England and to many other working class societies around the nation. And as a result of that, Thatcher was able to bring in this neoliberal narrative that the free market is always best, and that led to things like the myth of trickle-down. Whole communities were devastated by that neoliberalism, and the solution from the left was to actually become more right. So we ended up with Blairism, which itself was neoliberalism. In fact, Thatcher herself described Tony Blair as her greatest achievement, because she'd actually not just won the argument, but removed the argument. When your opponents actually have the same policies as you, you've won. And Thatcher had won. And for 40 years since that election of 1979, we have had neoliberalism destroying working class communities all around the nation. Now, in Corbyn, we have something akin to the traditional socialism that was originally set up to provide and ensure a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. It was designed to protect the rights of working people and make sure that nobody starved while the bosses got richer. But because the whole narrative, since before this doctor was born, has moved so far to the right, she sees the left, the traditional democratic socialist left, represented by Jeremy Corbyn, as extremism, almost Marxism, but it's not. The real democratic socialism that believes in a fair day's work for a fair day's pay, believes in the rights of working people and ideas of universal prosperity, so nobody has to go hungry and sleep on the streets. Everyone has the chance to feed their children. Everyone can have access to health care. That's just democratic socialism. Please understand that there is nothing extreme about the socialist alternative. The modern Labour Party is not Marxism. It's certainly not Trotskyism. It's just not Blairite. Because Blairite politics are just Tory light. If you want real change in this country, if you're fed up of seeing homelessness grow and wages be driven down in real terms, if you want the NHS and the welfare state to survive, if you want pensioners to be able to have both heat and food this winter, then the next chance you get, vote Labour. I'm Stuart Sorensen and this is Left Eye View. If you found this video interesting, please click on the little I subscribe icon that's on your screen right now. And while you're at it, please like and share this video. It'll really help me get this brand new leftist channel off the ground. Thank you very much.